Today we're going to be checking out 3 true mukbang horror stories. Alright fam, it's been a minute. I have not watched these in so long.
That we like to keep
I'm very excited.
the world. We fear that if anyone got to know about it, it might scare them off.
It might.
I have one too.
What is that?
It's the weirdest of all. For the sake of the story, I would like you to know me as Seth. Sorry, but I can't give out my real name. So, by profession, I'm a graphic designer, which involves hours and hours of sitting in front of the computer.
Okay, sounds fun.
Between my gigs, I watch videos for entertainment, and most of these videos happen to be ASMR mukbangs. A
dude.
weird satisfaction runs through my veins.
ASMR, bro.
Eat. The more food, the better. I can't explain how and why I like watching these videos, but it gives me relief. Not a day goes by when I go to bed without watching at least 4 to 5 mukbangs.
Wow.
But this habit has now developed into an unhealthy obsession.
Okay.
When a mukbanger eats, I could feel saliva forming in my mouth. My pupils dilate as I watch them insert food into their mouths.
Maybe he's just hungry.
The happier I feel. One night, I was watching a girl eat raw eggs when my mom called.
Seth, do you know what happened to the neighbor's kid?
Mom, I'm busy. Can I call you later?
No. The news is all over the paper.
Okay.
Wait, I'll send you a link.
Yeah, what happened?
She forwarded this online article, and from there, it all started. Our neighbor's kid was arrested for selling illegal items on the dark web. This wasn't the first time I heard about the dark web. I was going back to my videos when suddenly, an idea sprung into my mind.
But he's gonna go on the dark web.
I have been to the Tor browser quite a few times when I was in college. Old memories hit me and I decided to surf the deep web again.
Bad idea,
but
dude.
This time,
Bad
I
idea.
wanted to see if there were any creepy videos related to mukbangs. Yes, I know you already think I'm insane, but please bear with me, because what happened next has changed my life forever.
Okay.
After scrolling through cringeworthy websites
What did you find?
and advertisements on hiring a hitman,
Yeah.
I stumbled onto this link
That's all
for
true.
joining a chat room. The title read,
Blank soup.
Soup.
Oh
Thinking
my
that
god.
I found what I was looking for.
Is this about blank room soup?
The screen started
No
loading
way.
and I couldn't keep still.
Why is it taking so long?
Just when I started to think that I had been scammed, the page redirected to a live stream. A man
Bro.
wearing a white tank top
This is
was
blank
sitting
room
in front of
soup.
a table in an empty room that had nothing but white walls.
Yep.
His face was down and he looked malnourished, like he hadn't eaten in days. At first, I thought he was unconscious, but then suddenly, he looked up.
Yeah.
There was fear in his face. His eyes were wide and he started breathing heavily, looking at the
Well, yeah,
camera.
he's terrified
I
and
could count
highly
the bones
drugged.
in his rib cage each time he inhaled.
What the?
Suddenly, the door behind him opened and a guy dressed in a weird costume entered. He was looking like some freaky mascot. He had this huge cartoon head and was dressed in black.
Terrifying.
He was holding a bowl in his hand.
Absolutely
The
terrifying.
guy placed the bowl in
Not
front of
even
the
gonna lie.
man and handed him an oversized spoon which looked more like a ladle. The man started eating from the bowl using that oversized spoon, and soon, things turned creepier.
What is he eating?
Once the man
He's
dipped the
supposedly
spoon into the
eating
bowl,
the
I
remains of his
discovered
wife
he
and
had been
kid.
given a bowl of chicken noodle soup. So far, nothing bizarre, right? I mean, I expected to see him eat cockroaches or worms, but it was only
At
a
least
bowl
I'm
of
pretty
chicken
sure.
soup. The man took the first gulp and went for a second, but the more he ate, his behavior changed. He started crying. He was sobbing like he was in a lot of pain. The guy in the costume started patting as the man kept eating and crying at the same time. It all made no sense to me. Within a minute, the door opened again and another guy wearing that same costume entered the room. He had this big jar in his hand and filled the bowl. It was evident by now that they were feeding the man chicken soup forcefully. The way the man ate also signified how hungry he was, because he kept finishing the soup in seconds. But he didn't stop crying though. I had seen many torture videos on the
I'm pretty
dark
sure
web
that's the
before,
truth.
But honestly,
I'm pretty sure it was
this one
supposedly the
didn't match
remains
that craziness at all.
of his
There came
wife.
a point when the man couldn't eat anymore, but he still kept stuffing the food into his mouth with that ladle. Some amount of soup dropped from his mouth and he made this gagging sound.
Okay, now it's getting creepy.
I
Yeah.
realized that those identical costume guys intended to overfeed this man with chicken soup. The man ate and ate, and when he couldn't anymore, He vomited on that table. His body was shaking and his eyes were screaming for help,
And he
staring
kept
into
eating.
the camera. But those guys kept patting his back, stroking the hair on his head like he was their loving child. And they just wanted him to be healthy. People who were watching this video with me had started to comment under the live stream.
Feed him
by then,
cockroaches, his
and
own
I decided
vomit,
to check them
snakes.
for more context to what
That's
was happening
crazy.
with this man. Most of the comments were straightforward and freaky on how these men should force this man to do more crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm a bit creepier than most people. But those who commented on feeding him worms, snakes, and even his own vomit made me realize how twisted people on the dark
Yeah,
web are.
duh.
After scrolling
It's
through
a separate
the entire
browser,
chat
bro.
section, I didn't find anything to shed light on the matter. When I went back to the video, the man was vomiting all over his clothes and yet still eating the chicken soup.
Okay, this is boring now.
Click off, bro.
I had enough of this.
There you
So
go.
I exited the website and went to bed for the night. A few days went by and I completely forgot about this video when one day I saw it on YouTube. Someone has uploaded it onto YouTube and
Blank
people
room
were
soup.
going nuts over it. Having watched it from the source, I wasn't expecting much to see. But then I found this one comment that made me crap my pants. Someone has shared a theory which is going viral about this video, and it said,
Poor man. No doubt he loved his wife a lot.
feeling shocked and confused. I read the thread and got to know it wasn't chicken soup that the man was forced to eat. Rather, he was eating the soup made of his wife's meat.
What did I say? Chris
A
knows.
creepy video surfaced on YouTube in
Yep.
2005, featuring a man in distress in an empty white room.
Yep.
The man seems to be undergoing mental torture as he cries, and two mysterious masked men are confronting him. The man who seems to be eating something from a bowl. The clip gets even weirder when you notice he uses a comically oversized spoon. The masked man, who was later identified to be dressed as the Ray Ray character, starts to stroke the man soothingly, something that seems to distress the man further. You then see a second Ray Ray character appear and begin massaging the man on the table.
Yep.
This rubbing gesture makes the man finally break into hysterics and fits of fear. According to the legend, the figures in the costumes kidnapped the man and his wife.
Yep.
They
And
then
killed the
starved
wife.
the man for days and served him soup made of the
Yep.
remains of his wife, whom they also killed.
Yep.
That was why he was crying and appeared to be about to vomit. That was why the figures patted his back. They were torturing him, mockingly sympathizing with him, as they force-fed him the
Yeah, his own
cannibalized remains
wife.
of someone he loved.
That's insane. From what I understand, it is just a legend. It is just a creepy video that came out in the internet. I'm pretty sure that it's not real. I don't know if there's any truth to it, but I'm pretty sure this all turned out to be a hoax. Story 2, here we go.
When I was a sophomore in college, I was friends with this guy named Steven that
Okay.
wanted to start a popular YouTube channel.
Fair.
During our freshman year, we were dorm mates, and he would talk about his channel all the time, trying to get me to give him input on video ideas.
I feel
I
that.
always thought he was pretty uncreative, but he did have a somewhat entertaining personality. Of course, I was a big part of his first handful of videos. However, after we moved in with different people the next year, I stopped being in his videos and didn't hang out with him as much. That was until he hit me up to do a McDonald's mukbang video.
Okay.
Because none of his other roommates wanted to do
Little
it.
mukbang
even
action.
though he was offering to pay for all the food. Honestly, I always thought the concept was dumb, but as a broke college student, I
Free
found
food.
it difficult to say no to a day's worth of free food,
There you
so
go.
I agreed. The next Saturday, we met up at his dorm.
Nikocavo
As soon as I saw
avocado
Steven for the
thing is
first
so
time
funny.
in months, I was shocked to see that he had dressed up as Ronald McDonald. Clearly, this was for a visual gag.
It's a little
but he
creepy,
did a
though.
terrible job on the costume.
Not gonna lie.
He looked like a dollar store nightmare version of the real Ronald
Yeah,
McDonald.
it's a little scary.
Or like a roadside junkie who robbed a party city and went crazy
Unless
with
it's
a
not his
paintbrush.
friend.
To be fair, it made me burst out laughing immediately, which made us both more hopeful that it would be a successful video. We put together his filming set so we could start as soon as we got back. Then we got into his car and drove to the nearest McDonald's.
Imagine you're working the
I've
window
always
and
felt
that
bad
dude pulls
whenever I
up.
made life more difficult for people working in the fast food industry. I could hear the deep sadness and the intense loathing in the voice of the drive-thru worker when Steven ordered 2 of everything on the menu.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it almost took an hour for them to complete our entire order,
It's a
during which
lot
time
of Big
Steven
Macs.
vlogs some of the behind-the-scenes action. Once we finally got our obscene amount of food, we drove straight back to the dorm and covered the entire folding table with a
that costume
ridiculous
is creeping me
display of
out.
McDonald's. Then we sat down and started filming and got to it. We both fasted all day and skipped dinner the night before, so we would be super hungry whenever we got to the mukbanging, which meant
I feel like he's
going
gonna
to
try and eat
very
his
quickly.
friend.
I've never been a big fan
That's
of
what I'm thinking.
McDonald's, but those first 3 or 4 burgers were delicious. After about 1,000 calories, though, I started to slow down. On the other hand, I don't know what Steven was on, but he was like a bottomless pit. He wasn't slowing down for anything. He kept egging me on to keep going.
What are you slowing down for, bro? Go big or go home.
It's so much food, man. We barely made a dent.
Exactly. That's why we can't quit now. We haven't even gone through the burgers.
If I eat one more burger right now, I'm never gonna eat another burger in my life.
Fine, you big baby. I'll finish the burgers. You get started on the nuggets.
All right. By
Gotta
then,
get some
the
nuggies.
nuggets were cold and tasted like cardboard. The only thing that made them edible was dipping them in an excess amount of sauce.
Fair.
I ate 10 nuggets and then started munching on fries because I couldn't stomach anything else.
Okay.
Before long, I was starting to feel physically ill. I put my head on the table just for Steven to start flipping out on me.
Hey, you can't sleep. Look at all this food that's left. Why are you quitting on me, man? Go big or go home.
I can't, man. I just can't. I think I'm gonna throw up.
Only if you stop. You gotta keep stacking food on top to push down the stuff on the bottom.
I don't think that's how it works, man.
I think it does.
Stephen McDonald knows best. Isn't that right, folks? Look at this quitter. Everyone boo the quitter.
Who are you talking to, bro?
The audience, duh.
Oh man. I think I'm gonna be sick. I gotta go to the bathroom.
Oh, no, you don't.
I tried to get
But
up
he's gonna
so
try
I
and
could
kill
go
him.
throw up in the toilet, but Steven jumped up and grabbed me.
You're not going anywhere. Keep eating.
Then he started shoving McChickens into my
McChickens.
mouth. And
Bro.
out of everything on the McDonald's menu, I've always hated McChickens the most. There's just so much mayo and soggy lettuce. It's disgusting.
It's fair.
Eat it. Go big or go home.
Buddy has lost his mind.
I tried to get Steven off of me, but it felt like the blood in my veins was turning into concrete. I didn't even have time to swallow one McChicken before he shoved the next one into my mouth. I couldn't even breathe. Once I started choking and gagging, it was over. A whole bunch of my stomach contents came up and it couldn't get past the blockage in my throat, so it all came out my nose.
Oh, it's gotta
Of course,
burn.
Steven thought that this was hilarious footage. He finally let go of me and I fell to the floor as he went to grab the camera for some close-up shots of my embarrassing condition.
Look at this loser. You see, folks? This is what happens when you disappoint the Stephen McDonald.
What's wrong with you, man? You're sick!
Yeah, Buddy's
What's
like lost
that?
his mind.
I can't hear you over the sound of you failing the mukbang challenge.
Steven even started throwing food at me and making sounds like How To Basic. That's when I knew I had to get out of there.
Hell
as soon as
yeah.
I cleared my airways enough to breathe, I started crawling for the door. Steven filmed me, laughing like a sicko the whole time. I finally got to my feet and ran out the door. I stumbled home looking like a complete mess. Obviously, I never associated with Steven again, and I reported his video, and it got taken down.
I pulled up to a buddy's house. He wanted to do a mukbang, and he was dressed like a psychotic Ronald McDonald. Just believe I would have taken a picture of him, and then I would have dipped. Because free McDonald's is cool, but that dude looked like a serial killer for real. Here we go, video 3.
I drove down the road while Ryan sat in the passenger seat, making
Nice.
sure that all our cameras were charged and our phones were connected to the internet.
Okay.
We had heard of this new mukbang YouTuber, Nick, and I'd shot him a message a few weeks back asking to collab. He agreed, and that's where we were headed now. Ryan and I were a YouTube duo that did a mix of vlogging, sketch comedy, and challenges. This would be our first mukbang episode.
Okay.
When we arrived at the address
People like changing
Nick
it
had
up, people
given
like
us,
changing it up.
we gave each other weird looks. His house didn't seem very intriguing. It was eerily quiet and the lights were all off. We turned on our
Maybe you're
cameras
sleeping.
just in case and proceeded cautiously. There was no car parked in front, but I looked down at my phone and reread the message Nick had sent me just 10 minutes before.
Don't worry about knocking. Just come in. I'll be in the kitchen.
We opened the door and stepped inside. The house was empty except for a few food containers and bottles scattered everywhere.
This is gonna be
We
good.
exchanged puzzled
This
glances,
is gonna be good.
But Ryan shrugged his shoulders and we proceeded deeper into the house. The darkness was strange and bizarre, but we proceeded anyway. I nodded to Ryan and he grabbed one of our cameras from his bag and began to roll. Maybe Nick had some strange idea he wanted to try out. We rounded the corner and suddenly heard a noise coming from the kitchen. We cautiously walked closer, our hearts pounding as we entered. There was no one in sight. The lights were still off, but I noticed a figure sitting at the table in the dim light. It was Nick. He just sat there, motionless.
Bruh.
We stepped closer, and that's when he finally let out a loud scream and lunged at us with rage.
What the heck? Nick, it's Jared. Hey, man.
I stumbled out of the
He's
way
gonna eat him.
before I could finish my
No
sentence.
pun intended.
My heart thumping as he swung his massive fist at me. His body was huge and
Yeah.
took up a lot of the room. His eyes were bloodshot and cloudy. In the dim light, he seemed almost monstrous, his folds swaying with his body as he swung toward me, each of his hands the size of my head, his atrocious hair scraggly and dark in the fading light.
Jared, man, what's going on? Let's get out of here.
I dodged past the hulking figure again as he hurled dishes and food at us.
Look at
We
him.
sprinted out of the kitchen across the hall and out of the house as fast as we could. I was terrified as I ran, quickly realizing I had
Nikocado,
forgotten
El
where the
Host.
exit was.
El Host.
Luckily, I soon saw the door and we ran for it. As soon as we were outside, I looked back to see the massive figure of Nick chasing us down. His thudding footsteps got louder, and I leaped into the truck,
Hell
urging
yeah.
Ryan to follow.
Go.
Get in, get in.
As soon as Ryan had
He's gonna
stumbled
eat
into
the car.
passenger seat, I turned the key and revved the engine, reversing out of the driveway. As I did, however, I saw the garage door of the house
shit.
open. Nick leaped into
you know
a
he ain't
van
fitting
that
in that
was parked
truck.
inside, and he sped out of the garage, chasing after us. I drove as fast as I could, my heart pounding in my chest. As we approached a red light, I got ready to swerve around it, but a large semi was heading toward the intersection.
He's gaining on us, bro. Come on, what are you doing?
With a sickening thud and a lurch, I
Damn.
felt his van collide with our truck. I revved the engine again,
Hit it.
speeding through the intersection as soon as the semi had passed.
We gotta get to the police station, man. It should just be down the road
Yeah,
a bit.
I would say
With a
so.
final burst of energy, I drove as fast as I could down the street. We were almost there when suddenly I heard Ryan curse and I realized the van was no longer behind us. Nick had pulled his van up side by side with our vehicle, and he swerved the wheel, his
Bro.
eyes wild as he leaned out of the window and yelled.
What is he so
something
mad for?
incomprehensible. As his vehicle collided with ours,
spun
he
out.
swerved off the road,
Yep.
my tires crunching on the gravel. When I looked back, I saw him leap from his van and
Bro.
run towards our car.
We gotta
Lock the
go.
doors, man.
I locked
He's gonna
the
eat the
doors,
car,
as
bro.
Ryan had said, and just in time. In an instant, the massive man was against the windows,
He's gonna eat the
smashing his
car.
fists at the glass and making it crack. But then suddenly, his eyes went blank and he stopped pounding on the window. He just stood there, his body limp and his eyes staring off into space.
Bro's like Frozen.
We both sat there for a few moments in stunned silence before I slowly opened the door. When I approached him, I noticed that he was trembling and muttering something to himself. It looked like he was having some sort of episode. I didn't hesitate. I wasn't sure if he was pretending or not, so I called the police anyway.
As you should.
Hello? 911? I need help.
I explained what had happened, and soon a police car was on the way. I stayed with Nick until the police arrived. He seemed to have calmed down, but he just kept repeating the same thing over and over. I couldn't make it out, but it almost seemed apologetic. As it turns out, it wasn't his fault. Apparently, he had been suffering from paranoid schizophrenia disorder and had
Okay.
never received treatment.
Fair enough.
A few days later, I heard that Nick was doing better. He was undergoing treatment, and he seemed to be doing a good job of managing his condition. Ryan and I were happy to hear the news, but I'll be honest, I'm not going to collaborate with
Hell
him again.
no. Nikocado Avocado trying to attack his friends that just wanted to do a mukbang. Those were great. I had a lot of fun watching these. I haven't seen these and watched any of these in a really long time. So if you guys did go to enjoy today's video, slap a like on it, comment down below and show me that you guys want to see me watch these more because I can. But hopefully you guys did go and enjoy it. If you did, as I said, smack a like on it. Comment down below what else you guys want to see on the channel. With all of that being said, my name is Chris, and of course I will catch you guys in the next one.